So Tyson Fury is back at it again. All right. Tyson Fury has called out David Price and he's calling out David Haye as well. All right. This is what he had to say to David Price. I sent a tweet to that little midget saying if he wants to pay in chicken feed, he should go and buy some chickens. 500,000 euros for a fight that's going to sell 40,000 tickets. That will generate 20 mil. I might not have any education, but I've got money. I know how to make it, Fury said. All right, so that's what he had to say to David Price, and this is what he had to say to David Haye. David Haye is another shithouse, although he's a small shithouse. He went 12 rounds with Vladimir Klitschko and didn't even throw a punch. This is a warrior sport. You go in there and you try to win, no matter what it takes. It doesn't matter if you come out second by an inch or a mile. You still lost, so you may as well try to win. But all he did was survive. Now he's calling out Vitali. I'm telling him I'll take Vitali's place. I've got a pair of balls and I'll fight him in a minute. All right, so Tyson Fury's talking a lot of trash. Once again, like I said before, this is why UK boxing is pretty interesting. Here's how I feel about it. Tyson Fury, he's a decent fighter. In my opinion, I'm not sure he's on the level of a David Haye. I'm just not sure he's done enough to be on the level of a David Haye. I think this is the next interesting fight to make. I say, let Tyson fight David Haye. He's obviously talking a lot of trash about David Haye and about David Price. I'm not even sure if any of those fights happen anytime soon. You got David Haye who's only interested in fighting a Klitschko right now, which to me is a big mistake. It's a very big mistake. And David Haye, he's a talented guy. He's really selling himself short by just looking for a payday right now, because that's what he's doing. My question to David Haye is, after you beat, all right, let's just pretend for a second that you beat Vitali. After you beat Vitali, then what? Are you going to retire? Has David Haye become that obsessed with the Klitschko brothers? There's other competition for David Haye to fight. You're coming off of a great win versus Derek Chisora. There's plenty of people that I'm sure David Haye could pad his record with. And, people will eventually be screaming out David Haye's name for him to fight, Vitali or a rematch with Vladimir. But David Haye looks like he is hell bent on not fighting his way to that fight. He just wants to, continue to just trash talk Vitali and think he's going to get the fight that way. Which, it is possible that the fight will be made. But there's so much fights out there for David Haye. I'm pretty disappointed that he's not trying to take on any of those fights. Once again, this is a case of a guy trying to jump the line and just instantly get a title shot instead of working his way up there. So I'm a little bit disappointed in David Haye for not getting in line and beating a couple of big names. He did make easy work of Derek Chisora, who Vitali did struggle with. So yeah, that in itself maybe warrants a shot at Vitali. But there's still so much other great fights that David Haye could fight and boost his name, and do some promoting and some build up to that fight with Vitali. But who knows with this guy David Haye. And then as far as Tyson Fury goes, here's my thing about Tyson Fury. As far as I go, I'm one of those guys who I like the trash talkers. I don't always like the trash talkers themselves, but I like the idea of trash talk in boxing. Boxing doesn't need a bunch of robots who are all politically correct, who all say the right things. No, we need some goofballs who come out, call people names. It's entertainment. That's what, boxing and sports is in general. It's entertainment. And that's just what we need. That's what made the Derek Chisora, David Haye fight so huge, all right? Because it was like basically a WWE type match. That the whole situation, after the Vitali Chisora fight with David Haye getting on the microphone and, the whole incident, we all remember that. That made that fight big, So having these trash talkers and these guys who really don't like each other, I like it. But the question is Tyson Fury one of those guys who just talks trash, or is he one of the guys who actually backs it up, okay? We've seen time and time again guys throw out names, to help promote themselves, to help give them a little bit of publicity, tie themselves to a person's name. And David Price, is a name that's really being discussed right now. So is he just using David Price to get his name buzzing? Does he actually want to fight Price? Do his promoters want him to fight Price? Would he really actually fight a guy like David Haye? I mean, I'm not so sure. I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure Tyson Fury beats David Price, or David Haye. I'm not 100% sure. He did beat Derek Chisora, which is a very credible win. So, Tyson Fury, a good fighter, but I'm not sure. We really don't know how good David Price is. David Price is showing a lot of power, and we know what we got with David Haye. So, the question is Tyson Fury really down to fight either one of these guys? We're going to have to see, but it's just an interesting development. We got Tyson Fury, like I said, calling out David Haye. He's already called out David Price. Let me know your opinion. Do you think any of these fights actually happen? And what is your thoughts on the potential, you know, Tyson, versus David Price fight, or the potential Tyson Fury David Haye fight? Are you interested in that fight? Would you like to see it, and do you think it'll happen? Me personally, I'm not so sure. We got David Haye, who, like I said, is really obsessed with the Klitschko's. I really just don't get it. I think David Haye might want to go get a girlfriend because he's just a little bit too overly obsessed with the Klitschko's, and it's disappointing to me because he has talent. I'd like to see him fight. I'd like to see him take on more challenges like Chisora, and beat some of these guys and really solidify himself in the heavyweight division. But I'm not sure what we're going to get from David Haye. But I will say this: David Haye is great at promoting a fight. So whatever fight he fights in, I'll definitely be watching. And same goes for Tyson Fury. But you guys, let me know what y'all think. Those are my thoughts on this whole situation. I'm out.